Welcome to day 2 of Constructions. What I found with most kids over the years is that they either really love constructions because they're new and different and not the same old that they've come to expect from math, or they really don't like them because they're new, they're different, and they're not the same old that they've come to expect from math. I hope that you're falling into the former category and are really enjoying some of the constructions we're doing. All right, the next construction that you're going to need to know how to do is to construct an angle that is congruent to a given angle. I personally think that this is one of the toughest constructions out there, but maybe you'll disagree with me, and I hope that you do. All right, so number 1 says construct an angle DEF that is congruent to the given angle XYZ. And if I think about this angle that I'm given, this angle has 2 sides and a vertex at point Y. My new angle is going to have 2 sides. So I'm going to start out by first of all constructing the ray that's going to make up the bottom side of my angle. So there's my ray. And then I'm going to get out my compass and prepare to do some measuring. So that's what's next on the agenda. In essence, I'm thinking about taking this angle and copying it over here onto this angle. So I'm going to start by going ahead and taking my compass, opening it up to some set radius length that will intersect both sides of this angle. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw a nice arc that intersects both sides of the angle. If you want to, go ahead and draw a nice big arc and make the whole circle. But what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our new angle and we're going to copy that arc, or we're going to copy that circle. Notice that the point of our compass was at the vertex of this angle that we started with. So when we go to make our copy, we want to put the point of our compass right at the vertex of the new angle. And I'm going to repeat exactly what I did on the original angle. I'm going to go draw either a nice big circle or at the very least a nice big arc. I'm going to suggest maybe that you draw a circle. And what we want to do now is we want to go back to the original angle. We want to measure the distance between these 2 sides. So our measuring tool here is our compass. So I'm going to go ahead and flip my compass around and move it back over here to that original angle. I'm going to rotate it a little bit so that I can determine exactly how far I need to open that compass up. Now that I've got my compass opened exactly to the distance that the angle opens, I'm going to go and I'm going to copy the same thing over here onto my new angle. Notice that the point of my compass is at the point where the purple arc intersects the side of the angle. So when I go to make the copy, I want to put the point of my compass at the point where my purple arc intersects the side of my angle. Once I have my compass in place, I can go ahead and draw my arc. And then I'm going to grab my straight edge, and I'm going to ignore that little red scribble I made there. And I'm going to connect the point where these guys intersect, the red arc and the purple arc, with the vertex of my angle. When you come back to class the next time, we'll talk a little bit more about how and why this works. The last thing I need to do once I get rid of my compass is I need to label the triangle as I was asked to label. It says construct an angle DEF. So I want to go label this DEF. All right, so there's your angle DEF that's congruent to angle XYZ. Let's go ahead and practice one more of these because these are kind of tricky, I think. Again, I'm going to start out by constructing a ray that I'm going to use to make the bottom side of my angle. I'm going to orient it the same way that this ray has been oriented in the given angle. I'm going to drag out my compass and create this arc here at the vertex. So the point of my compass will go here at the vertex of my angle. And you might prefer to do a nice big circle. As long as your arc intersects both sides of the angles, you're in a good spot. And again, I'm thinking about copying this onto my new angle. Notice that the point of my compass is at the vertex of the given angle. So when I go to make my copy, I want to put the point of my compass at the vertex of my new angle. So that's where I'm going to drag it. And I'm going to create exactly the same arc that I created in the original. And again, what I want to do is I want to now use my compass to measure the distance that the angle opens up, to measure the distance between those two blue dots. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my compass back over here, spin it around. And I'm going to have to open my compass up quite a bit here. I want to measure the distance between those two blue points. And again, I can't help but notice here that the point of my compass is on the spot where the green arc meets the side of the angle. So when I go to move my compass over here to the new angle, I want to put it where the green arc meets the side of my angle. And then I can go ahead and draw. And what I'm really looking for here is the spot where the green and the blue arcs intersect, and that's what I'm going to use to draw my ray. Just a reminder that it's important to leave all of the arc marks on your paper because that's what we use to grade your constructions. At this point, I'm going to say, let's go ahead and why don't you pause the video and complete a couple on your own. See what you can do with the angles that are given there. All right, number 4 now says construct an angle that's congruent to angle A in the triangle below. This is the exact same construction that you have been doing and practicing. Now we're just going to take it out of a triangle and copy it. So if I think about this angle in the triangle below, angle A is going to be this guy down in the bottom left-hand corner. That's the angle that we want to copy. So I'm going to go ahead and start by putting a ray in there to make the bottom side of my angle. Now I'm going to go ahead and dig my compass out. I'm going to create or construct at point A a nice arc. And hopefully this is starting to feel natural to you. You've done some practice. You're starting to get used to it. I'm going to come over here to my new angle and create or construct that same exact arc. Now that I've constructed that arc, I'm going to flip my compass around and come back to my original angle and measure the distance between where that arc hits the sides of the angle. And again, the point of my compass is on the point where the side of the angle hits the blue arc. So when I move it over to my new angle, I want to put the point of my compass where that blue arc hits the side of my angle. Just for good measure, I'll change the color up here, create that arc, move my compass out of the way, and get ready to draw my ray. So there's an angle that's congruent to angle A in the given triangle. So copying an angle is the first of 2 constructions that you need to be able to do upon your completion of this video. The second of the 2 constructions is to bisect an angle, and that's what we're going to focus on next. This construction, I think, is considerably easier than the one that we just did. All right, the first thing that we're going to do when bisecting an angle is we're going to take our compass and we're going to draw a nice arc with the center as the vertex of the angle. So I'm going to go ahead and put my compass down here at the vertex of the angle. I'll open up my compass to get a nice arc. And you need to make sure that your arc intersects both sides of the angle. If you want to, go ahead and draw a nice big circle. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to focus on the two spots where the arc intersects the sides of the angle. So we're going to focus on those two green dots. I'm going to go ahead and start by moving the point of my compass to one of those green dots. I'm going to change the color up a little bit. And I might open my compass up a little bit. Maybe the compass setting that you had before is okay, doesn't make a difference. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw another arc. Now, here's the important thing. You need to keep that same arc length, that same radius length, that same compass setting. And what we're going to do is we're going to switch and we're going to move the point of our compass down here to the second point where the red arc intersected our angle, keeping the same compass setting. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and draw a second blue arc. And aside from the work that you need to do with a straight edge, you're done now. What you're going to do is you're going to go get your straight edge and you're going to connect the vertex of the angle to the spot where those two blue arcs intersect. We'll talk more about how and why these two angles are congruent the next time that you come to class. For now, just the fact that you can complete the construction is going to leave you in a very good spot. All right, let's try one more of those together. This one's an obtuse angle. It says to bisect the given angle. So again, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my compass out. I'm going to go put the point of my compass at the vertex of my angle. I'm going to get a nice radius length, something that's convenient. It's fairly simple to work with. And again, you can draw a whole circle if you want to, but really you just need the part of the circle that intersects the sides of the angle. I'm going to draw a whole circle just for good measure. What we really want to focus on next now are the two spots where the arc intersects the side of the angle. So I'm going to go ahead and move my compass back to one of those spots. I'll flip it around. I think I'm going to go green for this next arc. So I'm going to draw a nice big arc. Again, if you want to draw the whole circle, feel free to draw the whole circle. I'm going to move the point, keeping the compass setting the same. I move the point of my compass to the other yellow dot, draw a second arc. Now, if your arcs don't intersect, it means that they're too small. So you'll have to go back to one of these 2 points and make your arc larger. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw the ray from the vertex to the point where those two green arcs intersect. And there's my angle bisector. All right, now you've got a few to try on your own. So again, I want you to pause the video while you go ahead and practice that construction. All right, so now that you're an expert on angle bisectors, let's go try something a little bit different. It says, in the triangle below, construct ray AX in such a way that angle CAX is congruent to angle BAX. And what I want to do is think about what we're trying to accomplish here before we actually go and try to do any construction. So I'm going to write something down on my paper. I'm going to ask that you don't write along or write it down, just follow along with what I'm doing. We want to find some point out here, X, such that this angle from C to A to X is the same as this angle from B to A to X. And if those two guys are congruent to each other, then what we're really trying to accomplish is we're trying to bisect angle A. So this is just a snazzy, fancy, complicated way of saying construct the bisector of angle A. All right, so you're good at this construction now. Let's do it. Get my compass out. We want to bisect angle A. So again, you can do a whole circle, but what I'm really focused on are where those green arcs intersect the sides of the angle. And again, you can draw the whole blue arc or the whole blue circle, but what we're really focused on are just going to be where those blue arcs intersect. And again, it's really important that you keep the compass setting the same now as you move up to the second point of intersection. Alright, I'm trying to get that compass out of the way so I can go ahead and draw my ray in there. So from the vertex to the point where those two arcs intersect. So there's your angle bisector. We need to make sure that we label this X because the directions were clear and specific, and they said construct angle CAX congruent to angle BAX. All right, and the last one. By construction, locate the in-center of the triangle below. Label the in-center X. Well, you should remember that the in-center is the point where the angle bisectors of a triangle meet. So what they're really asking us to do is to construct the three angle bisectors for that triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and bisect the angle at the top first. This is going to get a little messy, might get a lot messy. I'm going to keep all my constructions for each of the three angles the same color. If you have colored pencils, you might want to think about putting a different color in your compass for each of the constructions, and that'll help kind of sort out which arcs belong with which angles. You also can rotate your paper, which might make this construction easier. I have to do mine upside down because I can't flip the computer over. But you can rotate your angles and tilt your paper, and probably if you're doing constructions correctly, you will be flipping and rotating quite a lot. So there's my first angle bisector. I'll switch up colors now and go to the purple for this angle on the left. There's my second angle bisector, and I'm going to draw a nice big angle bisector. No wimpy wussy angle bisector for me. And then I guess I'll switch up and do blue for my third color down here. Get that compass out of the way. And what's really cool is that whereas before when we talked about angle bisectors, I told you that they were all concurrent. I told you that they met at a point. But now you can actually see where those guys actually all meet at one point. And I do believe they wanted you to name that point X. And that was an ugly way to draw that in there. So I'm going to go ahead and label that point X. Now mine, as you can tell from the paper, didn't all meet exactly quite at one point. They met at more like a little bit of a triangle. And that's because my constructions weren't perfect and weren't exact, and they were off by just a little bit, therefore making the in-center off by just a little bit. All right, so there's your video on angles and angle bisectors. We'll talk a little bit more when you come to class about how and why those are the angle bisectors and why these constructions work. But for now, if you can construct the angle and you can construct the angle bisector, you're going to be in great shape.